So in this video, you're going to see a cold air intake that's causing a check engine light. The mass airflow, the grams per second is not reading correctly. So here's a rule of thumb. You can do a basic Google search and find it the same way. It's one of the things I use at the dealership whenever I'm diagnosing an issue with air fuel, maybe a faulty MAF or something like that. What you do is you look at the grams per second of the mass airflow reading, and it should be equal to the liter of the engine or greater. So I have a 4.6 liter 2-valve Lincoln Town Car. With my cold air intake, I was noticing my MAF reading was dropping down like 3.10 grams per second. I should never have anything that low. It should be right around the liter of my engine in grams per second. It should read 4.0 grams per second, 4.2 grams per second. I have a 4.6 liter, so it should be somewhere around 4.1, 4.2 and up. It should be around your liter plus, not below. But my mass airflow was dropping all the way down to like at 2.73 grams per second. It was dropping down to like 3.81 grams per second. Eventually it's going to set a lean code, right? So that's eventually what ended up happening with this, is it set bank 1 lean, bank 2 lean. Once I pulled the cold air intake off of the vehicle and actually put the stock setup back on it, and then looked back at my mass airflow readings, my lean codes went away, my long-term and short-term fuel trim balanced back out, came back down close to zero, and just with a bunch of revs over and over and over and idling and washing everything, I can see it adjusting slowly. As short-term was engaging, it was bringing long-term down, and it was resetting, and all of a sudden they were both almost back to zero. So in this video here, you can see the difference between the cold air intake that I put on from AFE. I made sure it wasn't just some cheap cold air intake. This intake is between $300 and $350 in the market right now, and it just did not fit my application for what I was going to use it for. It fit, everything lined up, but there were some bad things about it, like the PCV tube that goes from the valve cover up to the clip-in spot on the cold air intake. I had to actually cut the end of it off, fabricate a new end, and then put my own rubber line and stuff in to fit over, because it wasn't just a plug and play like AFE said. And then the directions on how to mount the airbox and stuff inside the car were pretty good overall, but they weren't specifically tailored to this type of design. One of the bolts, that said you should have a bolt over in the corner bolted down into the vehicle. That's not how the Lincoln Town Cars are set up. There's actually a rubber bushing that sits over there in that corner, and it bolts to the box, and it just basically, that bushing sits there as a dampener to stop the vibration if the box moves or taps. So here's the video. Thank you. Alright, I've given it about 30-45 seconds to stabilize. It looks like it is about 4.4. 4.35 to 4.4, somewhere in there.
7.6 at about 1300, somewhere ballpark. 7.6, 7.5.